Oh, the Babylon Bee, just the funniest satirical outlet. Look at this story. It's so silly. CNN criticizes Israel Arab leaders for shaking hands in the middle of a pandemic. It's just hilarious. I mean, CNN wouldn't do that. Look at this. They got a fake image. White House disaster. Trump, Middle East leaders ignore social distancing. The Babylon Bee is just the funniest fake news website. It's satire. It's not supposed to be real, you know? CNN shames Trump's large crowd, little social distancing at White House event marking historic Mideast peace deal. Come on! Are you kidding me? It's not even been a day. Give the Babylon Bee a couple hours. I can't believe it. I don't know who wrote the story first, but I'm sorry, Babylon Bee. You wrote real news. You wrote real news, and I think we should all come and have some criticism for the Babylon Bee for writing real news. I mean, the Babylon Bee, you writing real news would be akin to CNN writing fake news, you see? And when CNN writes fake news, well, I criticize them. So I'm sorry. I've got to criticize satirical news website Babylon Bee for publishing real news. Oh, the real news, always trying to talk about what's actually happening. They actually... It's truly amazing. Now, it is still a joke article with fake quotes. They say the ceremony erupted into chaos and peace talks collapsed after an argument arose over the pronunciation of GIF. The founder, the guy who invented it, said it's pronounced GIF. Anyway, here's Fox News reporting. CNN appeared to bury the lead by sounding the alarm on the large crowd and little social distancing at the White House event commemorating the historic peace deal between Israel, the UAE, and Bahrain. On Tuesday, President Trump was joined by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, UAE Foreign Minister Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan, and Bahrain Foreign Minister Khalid bin Ahmed Al Khalif to sign the Abraham Accords, something the president hailed as the dawn of a new Middle East. However, CNN's coverage of the event was less focused on the groundbreaking peace agreement, and instead shamed the White House for holding such an event amid a pandemic. I'd like you all to just absorb this for a few moments. The Babylon Bee. They've synchronized. Like, we're in a simulation, aren't we? You know what I mean? This can't be real. You know, people have the clown world meme that what's happening is just so absurd. Certainly, I can't do it. I can't even talk. That what's happening is so absurd that certainly this whole political world, our news cycle, is being written by clowns. It's a joke, isn't it? During the network's 3 p.m. program, CNN anchor Brooke Baldwin accused the president of denying the science of coronavirus, citing the over 195,000 deaths and the over 6.5 million cases in the U.S. She later negatively emphasized the hundreds of people that attended the outdoor White House event and knocked the president for holding a packed indoor campaign event in Arizona. Baldwin highlighted that these events have taken place following the released recordings of Trump's interviews with Bob Woodward, who in the early months of the pandemic spoke about the dangers of the virus with veteran journalist while striking a different tone publicly at the time. I want to address something there. The Wall Street Journal had a really has a good article about this, where they talk about context being stripped. And what that means is when we talk about a quote being pulled out of context, most people think it means if I said, I had this one guy come to me, right? And he said he didn't like chocolate ice cream. Or I'm sorry, I just messed it up. A guy came to me, right? And he said, I don't like chocolate ice cream. And I was like, whoa, what do you mean you don't like chocolate ice cream? You then clip out the quote, I don't like chocolate ice cream, and make it seem like I'm saying it. That's typically what people mean when they say pulled out of context. There's another way to pull things out of context. You remove them from the time period of the news cycle. See, now that hindsight is 2020 and everybody is, knows about the dangers of COVID, when Trump was talking about COVID with Bob Woodward, he was telling Bob things everyone already knew. But see, now that we're in a different period, they can reframe it. Nobody knew. Trump was lying. And that's how it works. Let's read more. Baldwin later turned to CNN White House correspondent Caitlin Collins, who was accompanied by an on-air graphic that read, Trump holds White House event with large crowd, little social distancing. This is real? I just can't believe it's real because I have the Babylon Bee with the look at that. Wait, what? Trump Middle East Babylon Bee wrote real news. I think we should all tweet to the Babylon Bee and let them know you're outraged that they've published real news, and they've got to get fake fact checkers to make sure their articles are fake before publishing. I mean, could you believe the embarrassment for the editors of the Babylon Bee? Collins reported that there were more masks at this event than previous ones, but credited foreign delegations who wanted to adhere to stricter protocols. She noted that many top officials who attended the event were seen not wearing masks, including Attorney General William Barr, Education Secretary Betsy DeVos, and Coronavirus Task Force member Dr. Scott Atlas. She went on to compare Israel's handling of the outbreak, which is relaunching a nationwide lockdown due to a resurgence of the virus, requiring Israelis to stay within 1,500 feet of their houses, stressing that the rules are much different for President Trump and his administration. It's a striking difference, isn't it? Now, I want to be fair. These articles were published on the same day. I don't know who published first because the Babylon Bee has the date, but not the time. So I'm not entirely sure. And the article published by Fox News about CNN was published about 20 hours before. So I'm recording this around around 3 or so p.m. So it's, 7 p.m. last night-ish. Am I getting my math right? It's very likely the Babylon Bee wrote their story first. So you know what? All right, I'll apologize. You guys wrote the fake news first. You're psychics, though. Go buy yourself some lottery tickets. You called it. The CNN anchor then welcomed Dr. Rob Davidson, who she billed as an emergency room physician, without disclosing that he was previously a Democratic congressional candidate in 2018, to pile on the president, suggesting he doesn't care about the potential health risks from the White House event. CNN carried on its overly negative coronavirus-focused tone toward the Abraham Accords, signing throughout its programming. Newsbusters managing editor Curtis Houck slammed the liberal network for downplaying what he described as a monumental achievement from the Trump administration. Despite having debased itself as full of hypocrites when it comes to enforcing coronavirus pandemic guidelines, CNN doesn't actually care about the ethics, so they'll offer scoldings about who is and isn't wearing masks or socially distancing, and that's what they did today with decrying the Abraham Accords signing, Houck told Fox News. Radio host Buck Sexton blasted the anti-Trump network in reaction to its on-air graphic that highlighted the lack of social distancing. Look, it's there. Hacks at CNN. No mention of Middle East peace. White House event with large crowd, little social distancing. As if that's what any of us cared about. I mean, I guess they do. Whatever. So once again, CNN manages to be the worst news network, but the best comedy channel, Sexton wrote. Even the conservative satirical website, the Babylon Bee, had some fun at the expense of CNN, running the headline, CNN criticizes Israel Arab leaders for shaking hands in the middle of a pandemic. CNN has a history, but here's my question. Did the Babylon Bee write this in response to CNN? Because if they did, is that the joke? They're joking that they had to shake hands for the deal? If that was the case, I'd say it's not the best joke, but I think they just didn't realize that CNN was actually going to be doing this because I bring up Jim Acosta and other fake quotes. I don't know. Maybe that was the joke. Maybe the joke was that CNN literally was mocking, the peace deal over social distancing. And so they added the handshaking thing. I kind of don't think that is the case, though. I wonder, because this was 5:26 p.m. September 15th when this was posted. I think it's possible that the Babylon Bee had the joke ready. They were going to be making fun of CNN. And then when the peace deal, started, they published their piece earlier and didn't realize. But you know what? The big factor here is timing. So I guess I will update and correct if it turns out that was the joke. Okay. I say last month, CNN Tonight anchor Don Lemon used the Israel-UAE peace deal to mock Trump after National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien suggested the president should be nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize. Wonder why he wants a Nobel Peace Prize so badly. Oh, you know who has one, right? Barack Obama. Yeah. Lemon's colleagues Anderson Cooper and Chris Cuomo avoided the subject altogether, as did their primetime competitors. Okay. So I'll tell you what. If we want to get really specific, the headline from Babylon Bee is shaking hands. This image they posted, Trump Middle East leaders ignore social distancing. Nope. I don't think they realized. Babylon Bee, you published real news. Get some fake checkers. Fake checkers. Yeah, there you go. Babylon Bee needs to have fake checkers, making sure their articles aren't real. This isn't the first time either. The Babylon Bee, you guys are psychic. Go buy yourself some lottery tickets. I think it's funny. I think it's actually makes the Babylon Bee satirical article even better because they understand that, like, you can see exactly what CNN's doing. And you know how absurd it is that you could predict their behavior. And then they do it. Amazing. Good job, CNN. Bravo. I got one more segment coming up in a few minutes. Stick around, and I will see you all shortly.